This is my gyroscope balanced two-wheeler. You can see it's got a couple of airplane wheels here, and they are this is my gyroscope balanced two-wheeler, and it's a little platform with two airplane wheels, and they are rounded wheels. They are not the flat, so they will not balance by themselves. It takes the gyroscope to balance it. And I used acrylic rulers for a frame for the gyroscope, and a motor, DC motor mounted on the top. And the gyroscope itself is just four CDs squished together with hot glue and held on with the airplane propeller adapter that you use for RC aircraft. And the gimbal is just an axle I made out of fishing pole tubes, hot glued to a piece of plywood, and the motor is just kind of bolted onto that. And I tried to get this to work, and it never would work before because I didn't know the secret. But the secret, in this case at least, is that the motor and the gyro combination have to be top heavy. There has to be more weight on top of the gimbal, the axle, than on the bottom. I tried it with a very heavy gyroscope, and it would just fall over slowly, but it would just fall over. And then I tried it with a very heavy top motor, more weight up here, and it would fall over. But if I got into the sweet spot, which was right where this zip tie is, so my center of mass is right about there, which is about a centimeter above the gimbal, or above the axle. And then it started working. So I looked and I looked. I saw other people where they had built a self-balancing two-wheeler, and but there were no details. They wouldn't say anything about the distribution of weight between the motor and the gyroscope. And so I kind of discovered on my own that at least what's working for me is if you put the center of mass right about there, it will balance itself. And you can see that it is top heavy. It will sit here, but that's just because of the friction with these little rubber doohickeys that I've got holding on the axle. So it does seem to work pretty good. It shakes and shivers a bit, but that's just because I'm using really cheap materials, really flexible materials, and my CD gyroscope is definitely out of balance. It's not balanced. So I believe if you used a balanced gyroscope, this thing wouldn't move at all when it's running. But it's working now, so my next step is to try to control because I want this thing to move forward and backwards, and I want to try to control the weight that controls the precession of the gyroscope itself. And so I'm going to have to do that with a counterweight, and I'm going to mount a servo on top here, and it will swing a counterweight back and forth. So even though I push on this thing, it will counter that movement. And I was very happy when and very surprised when it actually started balancing itself. So it is doable. I wanted to do it with some really cheap materials like these CDs, so that maybe others out there who don't have access to a machine shop where they can make a nice precision rotor. I wanted to be able to show that even using cheap materials, nothing is straight on here. Everything is kind of crooked, and even so, if you get it balanced just right, this thing will still balance on a two-wheeler. So I hope some other people will try this little experiment and see where we can go from there.